What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rams Brothers. I'm your host, Dean, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother and the other great host of this show, Nick. And Nick, the Rams just lost in overtime to the Detroit Lions in Detroit. We got a live reaction, everything that happened in today's game. But first and most importantly, how are you, my good brother?
I'm good. It's probably the best you can feel after a loss. I'm really confident in this team moving forward, and I liked what I saw. But yeah, still had to witness an overtime loss. So it's not great.
Considering what they overcame, right? The injuries, everything that happened on both sides of the ball. First-time defensive coordinator, young defense having to step up in a really tough environment, be able to overcome a lot of adversity. The offense specifically, you lose Puka Nacua, you lose your starting left tackle, you lose your backup left tackle, you lose Steve Avila at left guard. Like it just seemed like everything was crumbling, and then they were finally able to pick up the pieces then in the second half. But before we jump into this episode, I want to make sure to remind everybody to like and subscribe. We're going to be with you guys all throughout the entire season. Lions fans, jump into this one like you did on the last one. All opposing fans, we welcome you guys. Rams fans, we need your guys' support. We're rolling out content. We're live on X. We need you guys all throughout this season. And also, I want to mention that this episode is brought to you guys for Autograph. Autograph is our sponsor. Autograph is where real fans get unreal rewards. The app is doing a lot of brand new things. They're out of beta officially, so they're covering all teams across all major sports. Scan the QR code, punch in our referral code. It's B1B3F930. And we will be with you guys all throughout the season on Autograph and also support all other Rams content creators that are on Autograph. It's a great way to get involved, stay involved with the community. And as you consume Rams content, you can use all of those rewards and coins that you gather for actual rewards, tickets, merchandise, all that good stuff. So, all right. Rams, Lions, absolute cinema, right? I mean, like it seems like it always is, especially within the last couple of years. There's a real rivalry brewing. But Nick, I just want to get your instant reaction because it is live, it is emotional, and it's the first game of the season. So we're trying to kind of pick up the pieces and prepare for another 16 games throughout this regular season, and hopefully a postseason run.
I don't think the Lions can play a game not on crack. It seems like every single Lions game I watch, it is crazy. They do something wild. It comes down to the last minute. It's electric. It's up and down. They lose the lead in the fourth and they get it back. It was great. It was exactly what you want to see from NFL Sunday Night Football. My huge takeaway, just on a bare bones level, is from watching a lot of football today, I was not overall impressed what I saw around the NFL from like the cream of the crop and like all these other teams. And the Lions are supposed to be this echelon, top echelon, high tier, S tier, whatever you want to call them, of the NFC. And the Rams hung around the entire time. And, with a coin toss win, we could be sitting here talking about how great of a victory that was. Yeah. So, I think we're in a great position this season right now, especially after you overcome everything that we had to during the game.
A couple of things too, like the red zone efficiency, right? You talk about the injuries. Here's the injury report. It was just ridiculous. You lost Steve Avila. You lost Puka Nacua, both to knee injuries. Joe Noteboom was questionable return. He was later then ruled out. He was carted off of the field randomly. Rob Havenstein wasn't active in this game. So you're missing your starting left tackle, your starting right tackle, your starting left guard. They had to shuffle up things. They had Bo Limmer playing center, the rookie. So credit to the front office for being able to draft as well as they have, be able to reshuffle things around up front. But Kobe Durant was questionable in and out of this game with cramps. You were missing Darius Williams. We know Tre'Davious White's injury history. Jonah Jackson was all banged up going into this game. He had the scapula injury, started at center, then had to move over to left guard. So, it couldn't have been more difficult for the Rams to have to overcome this. And it seemed like they weren't playing with a lead at any point until they got to the third quarter. They were able to overcome some adversity and string some things together thanks to Sean McVay, thanks to the ability to stay within his system, right, to keep consistently rolling out the pistol formation, to go back to the power run game, to trust in the wizard that is Matthew Stafford, because he is pretty damn incredible. And also, how about Cooper Kupp? Let's look at this play by Cooper Kupp on the sidelines. Just unbelievable toe tap. I think he had 21 targets in this game, 14 catches. a ton of yards and a touchdown. He looked like he was right back in 2021 form. So, as we kind of go through all this, I just think it's incredible too, because like you look at the box score, you look at everything that you're, trying to kind of break through and figure out like what went wrong, where did it go wrong, how can we fix things? A lot of it kind of came down to injury, because Matthew Stafford, 34 of 49 for 317 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Thought the red zone pick was terrible to Kirby Joseph. It was horrendous. And, to Kirby Joseph, of all people, is just upsetting. Blake Corum didn't even get a snap in this game. They stuck with Kyron Williams. They gave him 18 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown, only 2.8 yards per carry. Ronnie Rivers was the backup. Cooper Kupp, yeah, he did. He got 21 targets, 14 receptions, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Wow. I mean, it couldn't have been more difficult, to the point where we had other Rams fans, shout out Sosa, was saying too bad that the Rams are one more offensive line injury away from starting one of the Rams brothers at left tackle. And here was Nick's reply.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Sosa. That was that tweet made my night 100%. To see what they had to overcome, I want to really give a shout out to the wide receiver room. Because Puka goes down, and everybody who watched NFL last season knows how fantastic he was last year as a rookie, and all the feats and records he set was nothing short of fantastic. And then, he goes down. You have Whittington, Demarcus Robinson steps up, Cooper Kupp, like you were just laying out, like came up in a big way, something that we haven't seen before from him from a long time. Obviously, we've seen it before. But there was a real opportunity for our Rams to, similarly to when all the injuries were piling up after the Super Bowl in 2022, when they faced the Bills, just kind of roll over and accept our fate. And all these injuries are happening, and that's that. And we're going to lose this game, and we'll figure it out after this game. But they battled. I mean, look at that win percentage counter right there. Like it's ticking down for the Lions, and then boom, spark up for the Rams, and then boom, another huge spark. And then, we ended up losing in overtime. But the effort that these guys put in, especially everybody that had to like come in off of the bench, I thought it was great.
Yeah, and it was too. Like you look at the defense specifically, I thought Quentin Lake had a really good game. Troy Reader was a pleasant surprise in all ways, covering Amon-Ra St. Brown, just a head-to-head battle that he had to deal with, the coverage and having to stick with guys that are in the slot, being able to stick on running backs and finish tackles. And shout out to Chris Shula, who I thought called an incredible game. You had 2 inside linebackers. You had 3 safeties on the field at almost all times, John Johnson, Cam Curl, and Quentin Lake. And Quentin Lake was playing in that nickel role. I was just fascinated with the way that they were able to overcome adversity, Nick, to your point. Like, young defensive line. You saw Jared Verse get his first sack, which we all had wanted to see. Jared Verse sacking Jared Goff, the first overall pick from 2016, gets sacked by the first overall pick in the 2024 draft, or whatever the pick he was, the 19th pick. Just incredible stuff. And I think overall the game, you got so many talented players on both sides of the ball, and it didn't feel like the Lions, had any real opportunity to kind of falter from their original game plan, because there were no injuries, because they were home, because they were comfortable. And I think that's what made it so difficult. I will say, though, that in terms of the defense, I think the run defense was a little bit sloppy. Yeah. And, Trey White made that one mistake in the secondary to Jamison Williams, who had a really nice game. But, you got guys up front, you got a lot of talent and young players that are over pursuing and are overexcited in opportunities that, they haven't gotten yet. They haven't played this type of football yet in that type of environment. So I think it was encouraging for the most part.
Shout out to Ben Johnson. I mean, the guy is fantastic at what he does. He found out exactly what the Rams weren't doing right for the defense. And as soon as they got the ball in overtime, they were like, power run, we're going to run it. We're not going to ask Goff to do anything outside of, throwing it behind the line of scrimmage and just handing the ball off, because that's all they really needed, because they saw that was our weakest point on defense, was stopping the run. But on the same vein, you can't win an entire game like that. And if you were to tell me that, this is, hey, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, is brand new. This is his first year as a defensive coordinator, and I had no idea. I would be shocked. I mean, the Lions are like a high-power offense, like the top tier of the NFL, like I just said. And we kind of shut them down. I mean, like, not, Detroit fans are going to be like, you didn't shut us down. But like 20 points, holding the Lions to 20 points, I think that's a pretty good, like you probably could win that game 8 times out of 10 if you can hold the Lions to 20 every time.
Yeah, coming out of last year in 2023, they were second in explosive plays. And like I mentioned, they had that explosive to Jamison Williams, but you held Sam Laporta in check, 4 receptions for 45 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs is a receiver. I think he only had 4 receptions for 34 yards. They like to use him out of the backfield. Amon-Ra St. Brown was the big one. 3 receptions on 6 targets for 13 yards. I thought that was, that's an incredible job scheming up a defense to prevent a really, really talented slot receiver, a guy that moves to the F, to the Z. Sometimes, occasionally, he goes to the slot. But being down your top corner in Darius Williams and still being able to scheme up a game plan with that kind of lack of talent and inexperience, I think you got to give a ton of credit to Chris Shula. And I think Lions fans know in the back of their heads that they're going to end up seeing the Rams again. Like, I think they're going to, they feel it. Like, they felt it in the building when the Rams kind of started, despite that, that win-loss scale that we were showing too, the probability, like towards the late in the third quarter, early on in the fourth quarter, you heard that stadium get really silent. And I don't think there were any expectations that there was even going to be that close, considering the injuries and considering all the other adversity that the Rams had to deal with.
And I mean, they are feeling themselves right now. The Lions fans, the organization. You have Calvin Johnson coming out before the game with a pre-rendered video talking about how we are we're expecting the Super Bowl and all this. And I was like, man, Rams can really come in here and just spoil the party. And boy, did they come like really close to doing that with a banged up team. But yeah, I don't think this is the last we see of the Lions. If destiny plays out where we do get to play them in the playoffs, I think that's a real chance that we get to see them again. And it's just so. I let myself get to the point when they took the lead. I was like, okay, that's the game. Especially when you have the opportunity. It felt like you have a game-stealing interception dropped. Yeah. In the fourth quarter, who was it? Quentin Lake.
What in the fourth? Who were you talking about? The Rams?
Yeah. Sorry.
What, the interception that was dropped.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was Kobe Durant.
Kobe Durant.
Yeah, I thought that was a game sealer too. Yeah, John Johnson had the interception that, it was the first Rams turnover since 2021, Nick. We were at that game. It was back in October of 2021. I think it was the Jalen Ramsey interception that ended the game against Jared Goff all the way back 3-4 years ago, where they had played, I think, 7 quarters straight where there were absolutely no turnovers against the Detroit Lions. And I think, like we were talking about keys, special teams had to be perfect. I thought special teams was really good. Joshua Carty was 2 of 2 on his kicks. The coverage was good. Kickoffs were good. Punt coverage was good. But it's like there was a little bit of lack of leverage inside on the defensive line. That offensive line that we talked about in the preview, Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell and Graham Glasnow, like these guys are studs. They're all first-round picks. So, and it's not like the Rams don't have a lot of talent up front, but you got guys that were third-round picks and fourth-round picks, and Verse is really the only top-tier guy, but he was playing in his first game in his history as a professional. So it's definitely, it was one of those games too, like they were a 5-point underdog. Right? They started 3.5, they went all the way to 5. And to not be able to cover that spread in the end, I think is really upsetting when you see the final score 20-26, a little bit of a heartbreaker. But none of that stuff matters when you feel like you have legitimate momentum that you can carry over into the next week, especially against an Arizona Cardinals team that you really have had their number for a long period of time.
Yeah, I especially, I mean, you saw the Cardinals like kind of ball out today and almost came back. And
they did against the Bills.
So it's like they're not going to fall over easily, and their defense has definitely stepped up. The thing that kind of is killing me now, when like the more I think about it, is Dan Campbell and Jared Goff both have winning records against Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. Yeah,
I mean they all look disappointed, right? Because they felt like it was a game that they could have easily won. Like when you go back, so it's 20-17 in the fourth quarter. You felt like you can close out that game. right? You felt like there were legitimate opportunities to be able to, like Kyron going out of bounds late in the game. Like you could have extended that drive, you could have closed out, you could have potentially added more points. Like there were just some missed opportunities. I think the left tackle, AJ Curie, right, negating the Jordan Whittington touchdown on the jet sweep end around, like that was just it was a missed opportunity. But you kind of expected those things to happen when injuries do happen, because like we talked about, fans were asking for the Rams brothers to come off the couch and protect Matthew Stafford's blind side. That's how deteriorated the team was in the first game of the season. So,
I mean, we're not sitting here like Packers fans who had to wait 2 days to find out what was going on with Jordan Love. But at the same time, I am terrified to find a conclusion to the Puka Nacua news.
To the what? I'm sorry, I lost you at the end.
To the Puka news.
Oh, to the Puka. Yeah, well, because it's like the Puka news, and same with Steve Avila. Like Steve Avila was in a knee brace on the sideline in that game. So Puka ruptured his bursa sac, which is just a term. So, it sounds funny, but like that's like a pocket of fluid on your knee that has to get drained. You got to drain the fluid. You got to drain the blood out. There's a pretty decent recovery time that's affiliated with it. Cooper Kupp dealt with it on the offseason before the 2021 season where he won the Triple Crown. He was going from like June to July and into August on a recovery plan. So like the Puka news is, it's pretty legitimate. And I think if you lose Steve Avila, look next week, what are you looking at? And you don't have Jonah Jackson. You're looking at a starting offensive line of AJ Curie, Jonah Jackson, Bo Limmer, Kevin Dotson. And does Rob Havenstein come back? We hope. We hope. I will say that I thought Warren McClendon had a really nice game on the right side. It wasn't Aiden Hutchinson didn't think to himself like, okay, I'm going to line up consistently. I think he started the game on that side going against Warren McClendon, and then he switched over to the left side because he felt like he had a real opportunity to blow up the game. Like Marcus Davenport even was taking advantage a little bit of Joe Noteboom. But like Noteboom, it's a shame because I thought he had some moments too. Yeah. There were some moments in the game where Joe Noteboom had actually stepped up. There was a play he made in space on an end around, I think it was to Cooper Kupp, where he just blew Aiden Hutchinson out of the picture. Which
Hutchinson is their game breaker. He's the guy that he got called for the flag on the late hit on Stafford, which it did look like he kind of twisted after he got him by the legs, which is just like disgusting, and it's not. You don't want to see that at all. But it's just Stafford got lit up, and he was right back out there, and he's making throws that nobody else in the NFL can make. I mean, there were 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure he did no look pass.
He did.
Yep. He did one where there were 2 lions flying at him, and he threw it up, and I'm like, that ball's just going out of bounds. It's a reception.
That was on the 3rd and 6 to Tyler Johnson too, where it was like he's completely getting torn down by 2 different Lions players. His head was in the opposite direction, floated it over the line of scrimmage, 7-8 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage. Tyler Davis, he converted. I thought Tyler Davis had a really nice game too, like in relief of Puka Nacua. So again, hats off to the front office, because
and then the players obviously that came in and stepped up.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
I think is going to be a key contributor to this team. They are going to get him in rotation and in snaps.
No, I think you're totally right. And you know what? It seemed like some of the game management stuff was even better. Like you saw 4th down, there was some aggression. You saw some grit, to steal the Lions terminology. You saw some gutsy performances from this coaching staff, from this roster, when there was no expectation really after the first couple of quarters to do so. But 4th down aggression is huge. We wanted Sean McVay to be able to emphasize that. That's why they brought in John Streicher from Tennessee. So Stretch was involved in this game, just to be able to get in McVay's ear and be a little bit more decisive on 4th down. I think they weren't able to convert on 1 to Cooper Kupp that he ended up dropping earlier on in the game. Yeah, but they were able to overcome it.
That one was like a 4th and 5 where or 4th and 4 maybe, but I mean I would have liked to have seen them try out Josh at that point just to see him hit something a little longer. He was great today, he didn't miss anything. He did good for what was asked of him, but at some point you're going to want to see him drill like a 40+, 50+ because people are able to do that. I mean, the freaking Cowboys kicker today drilled a 66-yarder. It was called back, but he totally freaking right down the line drilled it.
They almost tried a 71-yarder in that game.
Yeah, because
they brought him on.
They got pushed back, and they were like, "Nah, we don't need you missing that."
Yeah, and Brady was like silent. Like, come on, Tom, speak up. What do you have to say about the situation? He's like,
Brady was kind of a little all over the place today.
Yeah, he was. He's like me every time we record a podcast. I can relate. So I think there's a lot that you can hang your hat on. I don't think there's any reason to be like defeated, right? It's one game. It's the road. Of course, it's in conference, but it's not in division. Arizona lost. Seattle beat a really bad Broncos team.
Seattle should have lost if Bo Nix is anything of anything. Like I was sitting on the couch with 3 of my friends, and I was like, any of us can do better than him right now. They should have lost. Like Seattle's not happy with that win.
That's why I'm in two different leagues. I made sure to start Seattle's defense in 2 separate leagues because you go against a rookie quarterback. You saw all 3 rookie quarterbacks today struggle. Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, and also Caleb Williams.
Jaden Daniels was the winner, I thought, of the day of those.
Probably was. Yeah. But then tomorrow you got San Francisco versus the Jets. Like that game's going to be fascinating too. So you get Aaron Rodgers healthy, but you could see a situation where Seattle is 1-0 and the rest of the division is 0-1. And the next week you get a divisional matchup against the Arizona Cardinals. So it's a must win. But like if you can get some guys back, you know, Puka Nacua is somewhat healthy, but I still love Tyler Johnson and Jordan Whittington in rotation there. Like I love that as depth. The offensive line is terrifying, but if you get Havenstein back, maybe even move Warren McClendon to the left side, and you have Bo Limmer stay at center while Steve Avila is recovering. You still got some pretty solid depth there. So I think in time, the season's it's going to get better. I think the defense is going to be able to build on this consistently. I think the offense is what they are. They're Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Sean McVay, Kyron Williams, and maybe Blake Corum eventually. Even Colby Parkinson, I thought, was pretty solid in this game. And I think that's a guy that the Rams are going to be able to lean on a ton. You saw him slide and help in protection on the left side, which was absolutely massive for a guy that, hasn't played a lot of professional football in AJ Curie. I think they could have done a couple of more things to be able to help protect Stafford a little bit more from the blindside perspective with a third string left tackle. But I feel like they did what they could. So, the
Rams will be the Rams, and they will trust one running back and have Kyron do everything. And apologies to my friends who I said that Corum was going to be in there and going to be making moves. And you can start him because he definitely will be getting snaps, and he did not.
He will eventually.
Yeah, he will. I guess they're just kind of holding him right now. But, I mean, Kyron was great. A little more creativity on the run I would have really enjoyed. I was so happy that they mixed in the jet sweeps, and I hate that all that Whittington touchdown back, but that was phenomenal. And then just like I would have loved to have seen like a couple plays where they kind of bootleg the running back out back and they hit him on like a little stride.
Yeah, a little wheel route. Yeah,
wheel route. Yeah,
totally.
Let's relax for a second. So you have Arizona, who we have always beaten, followed by I think Caleb Williams. Right
now, there's a game in between. I think it's maybe it is. No, Caleb's I think week 4. Are the Niners? Week 4?
I think you know what? I think it goes Arizona, 49ers,
Caleb, and then the Packers after that.
Well, Packers. I mean, now
it's a question mark.
Yeah, it's a question mark.
But stuff that
it puts you at a position now with Arizona where it feels like a must-win.
The wheel route is definitely one thing you could do. You get your running backs more involved as pass catchers, which I think Blake Corum's capable of, Kyron's capable of. The pistol, you ran a little bit of outside zone. You ran a little bit of split zone in the pistol. You also ran your power running game. They were in shotgun. They were in empty. So they did kind of use a lot of tools to their disposal. It just wasn't all executed properly because they had some personnel issues. They had some offensive line issues, and you're missing one of your top receivers. But again, tons to build on. I think we're going to be totally fine. Just try to relax. It's only week 1 of the season, but a lot more fun to be had. And we're going to be here the whole way. So if you guys want to sound off in the comments, we want to hear your guys' voice always. We want to hear you guys on X. We want to hear you guys within the comments. Comment your thoughts about the game. about this podcast. How can we make it better? How can we make the viewing experience better for you guys? We're open to all that kind of stuff. So keep it coming, guys. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we really appreciate you listening. Check out Autograph. Use our referral code. Autograph is fantastic. We love that they're our sponsor, and we really appreciate you guys as fans listening and coming, checking out, and hanging out with us. It means so much. So, horns up, baby. Don't let this loss ruin your confidence in this team, because they are a good, great football team.
Don't lose the faith. If you guys need us, we will be we're practicing our pass pro reps as left tackles. Yeah, we're practicing everything we need to do to get ready for Sunday. We love you guys. Go Rams. Talk to you soon. Peace.